Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as Christ God forgave you. Ephesians 4:32.
David said, "Is there anyone still left from the house of Saul, that I should perform with him an act of mercy because of Jonathan?" From the house of Saul was a servant, and the name to him was Ziba. They called him to David, and the king said to him, "You are Ziba?" He said, "You, your servant." The king said, "Is there left any man from the house of Saul, that I should perform with him an act of mercy of God?" Ziba said to the king, "There still is a son to Jonathan, being stricken of the feet." The king said to him, "Where is this one?" Ziba said to the king, "Behold, in the house of Machir, son of Ammiel, of Lodabar." King David said, and took him from out of the house of Machir, son of Ammiel, of Lodabar. Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, son of Saul, comes to King David. He fell upon his face, and did obeisance to him. Then David said to him, "Mephibosheth." He said, "Behold, your servant." And David said to him, "Do not fear, for by dealing with you I shall execute with you an act of mercy because of Jonathan your father. I will restore to you all the fields of Saul, the father of your father. You shall eat bread at my table always." He did obeisance to him. He said, "Who am I, your servant, that you looked upon the dying dog like unto me?" The king called Ziba, the servant of Saul, and said to him, "All as much as is to Saul, his entire house, I have given to the son of your master. You shall work the land for him, and your sons and your servants. You shall carry in to the son of your master bread loaves. He shall eat, and Mephibosheth, son of your master, shall eat bread always at my table." To Ziba were 15 sons and 20 servants. Ziba said to the king, "According to all as much as my master, the king gives charge to his servant, so shall your servant do." And Mephibosheth ate at the table of David as one of the sons of the king. To Mephibosheth there was a small son. The name to him was Micah, and all the household of the house of Ziba were servants to Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for at the table of the king he ate always, and he was lame of both of his feet. And it came to pass after these things, that the kings of the sons of Ammon died. Hanun his son reigned instead of him. And David said, "I will perform an act of kindness with Hanun son of Nahash, in which manner his father performed an act of kindness with me." David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servants concerning his father. And the servant of David came into the land of the sons of Ammon. The rulers of the sons of Ammon said to Hanun their master, "Is the reason for David to glorify your father before you that he sent to your comforters? Or is it not, however, that they should search the city and spy it? For to survey it David sent his servants to you." Hanun took the servants of David, and shaved their beards, cut off their uniforms in half unto their hips, and he sent them out. Now it was reported to David concerning the men. He sent to meet them, for the men were dishonored exceedingly. And the king said, "Stay in Jericho until your beards rise, and you shall return." The sons of Ammon saw that the people of David was disgraced. And the sons of Ammon sent, and they hired the Syrian of Beth-Rahab, and the Syrian of Zobah, 20,000 footmen, and the king of Maacah, 1,000 men, and the one of Tob, 12,000 men. David heard, he sent Joab and all the forces of the mighty ones. And the sons of Ammon came forth, and deployed for war by the door of the gate. The Syrian, Zobah, Rahab, Ishtob, Maacah were by themselves in the field. Joab beheld that it came to pass that the war was facing him from the right face opposite, and from the rear. He chose from out of all the young men of Israel, and deployed right opposite Syria. The rest of the people he put into the hand of Abishai his brother, and they deployed right opposite the sons of Ammon. He said, "If Syria should strengthen over me, then you shall be to me for deliverance. If the sons of Ammon should be strengthened over you, then I will come to deliver you. Be manly, for we should be strengthened for our people, and for the cities of our God. The Lord will do good in his eyes." And Joab approached, and his people with him, for war against Syria. They fled from his face. And the sons of Ammon beheld that Syria had fled, and they fled from the face of Abishai. They entered into the city, and Joab returned from the sons of Ammon, and came unto Jerusalem. Syria beheld that it failed in front of Israel, and they gathered together at the same place. Hadarezer sent and gathered together the Syrian from the other side of the river. They came unto Halam, and Shobach, the commander-in-chief of Hadarezer, was in front of them. It was reported to David, and he gathered together all Israel. He passed over the Jordan, and he came to Halam. Syria deployed before David, and he waged war with him. Syria fled from the face of Israel, and David killed of the one from Syria 700 chariots, 40,000 horsemen, and Shobach, his commander-in-chief, he struck, and he died there. All the kings of the servants of Hadarezer beheld that they failed in front of Israel. They deserted after Israel. They served them, and Syria feared to yet again deliver the sons of Ammon. It came to pass in the turning of the year, and to the time of the departure of the kings for battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him, and all Israel. They utterly destroyed the sons of Ammon, and they besieged against Rabbah, and David stayed in Jerusalem. It came to pass towards evening, David rose up from his bed, and walked upon the roof of the house of the king. He beheld from the roof a woman bathing. The woman was good in appearance exceedingly. David sent and sought the woman, and they said, Is not this Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam, wife of Uriah the Hittite? David sent messengers, and he took her. He entered to her, and went to bed with her. She was being set apart from her uncleanness, and she returned to her house. The woman conceived, and she sent and reported to David, and said, I am one conceiving. David sent to Joab, saying, Send to me Uriah the Hittite. Joab sent Uriah to David. Uriah came and entered to him, and David asked for the peace of Joab, for the peace of the people, and for the peace of the war. David said to Uriah, Go down to your house, even to wash your feet. And Uriah went forth from the house of the king, went forth after him, and tribute from the king. Uriah went to bed by the door of the house of the king with all the servants of his master, and he did not go down to his house. They reported to David, saying that Uriah did not go down to his house. David said to Uriah, Are you not come from a journey? Why did you not go down to your house? Uriah said to David, The ark and the Israel, Judah, dwells in tents, and my master Joab, and the maidservants of my master's camp upon the face of the field. Shall I enter into my house to eat and to drink and to go to bed with my wife? By your life and by the life of your soul, in no way shall I do this thing. David said to Uriah, Stay here also today and tomorrow, and I will send you. Uriah stayed in Jerusalem on that day and the next. David called him. He ate before him and drank. He intoxicated him. He went forth that evening to go to bed upon his bed with the servant of his master, but he did not go down into his house. It became morning, and David wrote a scroll to Joab, and sent it by the hand of Uriah. He wrote in the scroll, saying, Bring Uriah right opposite the battle of the fortified part. Turn away from behind him, so that he shall be struck and shall die. It came to pass in Joab's guarding at the city that he put Uriah in the place where he knew that men of power were there. And the men of the city came forth and waged war against Joab. There fell some of the people of the servants of David, even Uriah the Hittite died also. Joab sent and reported to David all the matters of the battle. Joab gave charge to the messenger, saying, In your completing all the matters of the battle, speaking to the king, it shall be if the rage of the king is passed, he shall say to you, Why is it that you approached the city to wage war? Did you not know that they would shoot him on top of the wall? Who struck Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal? Did not a woman toss a piece of millstone upon him from above the wall, and he died in Thebez? Why did you lead forward to the wall? You shall say, And also your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead. The messenger of Joab came to the king in Jerusalem, and reported to David all as much as Joab spoke. The messenger said to David, That the men strengthened against us, and came forth against us into the field. We came unto them unto the door of the gate. The ones shooting shot unto your servants from of the wall, and there died some of the servants of the king. Even your subject Uriah the Hittite has died. David said to the messenger, Thus you shall say to Joab, Do not let this matter be severe in your eyes, for perhaps indeed it is thus one way, and perhaps thus another way, that the broadsword devours. Strengthen your battle against the city, raise it, and strengthen it against it. The wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband had died, and wept over her husband. The time of mourning went by, and David sent and brought her into his house. She became to him for a wife, and she bore to him a son. And the matter which David did appeared wicked in the eyes of the Lord. The Lord sent Nathan the prophet to David, and he entered to him and said to him, There were 2 men in one city, one rich and one needy. Though as to the rich man flocks and herds, many exceedingly. To the needy one there was not anything, but only one small ewe lamb, which he acquired, and protected, and nourished it, and it matured with him, and with his sons at the same time. It ate from his bread, and it drank from his cup. It slept in his bosom, and it was to him as a daughter. A traveler came to the rich man, and he spared to take from his flock and from his herd, to prepare for the strangers coming to him. He took the ewe lamb of the needy man, and prepared it for the man coming to him. David was enraged in anger exceedingly against that man, and he said to Nathan, As the Lord lives, that man doing this is the son of death. For the ewe lamb he shall pay fourfold, because he did this thing, for which he did not spare. Nathan said to David, You are the man doing this thing. Thus says the God of Israel, I anointed you for king over Israel. I rescued you from out of the hand of Saul. I gave to you the house of your master, and the wives of your master into your bosom. I gave to you the house of Israel and Judah. If it is little to you, I would have added to you as thus. Why is it that you treated as worthless the word of the Lord, to do the wicked thing in his eyes? Uriah the Hittite you struck by the broadsword, and his wife you took to yourself for wife, and him you killed by the broadsword of the sons of Ammon. Now the broadsword shall not depart from your house unto the aeon because of this. For you treated me with contempt, took the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be to you for a wife. Thus says the Lord, Behold, I shall awaken evils against you from out of your house, and I shall take your wives before your eyes. I will give them to your neighbor, and you shall go to bed with your wives before this sun. For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel, and before the sun. David said to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said to David, The Lord cast aside your sin, you shall not die, except that in provoking to anger, you provoke to anger the enemies of the Lord in this thing. Indeed, your son, the one born to you, to death he will die. Nathan went forth to his house. The Lord enfeebled the child which the wife of Uriah bore unto David, and he was ill. David sought God for the boy, and David fasted with fasting. He entered and lodged upon the ground. The elders of his house rose up to him to raise him from the ground, and he did not want. He would not eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the 7th day, the boy died. The servants of David feared to announce to him that the boy had died. For they said, Behold, while the boy was still living, we spoke to him, and he did not listen to our voice. How should we say to him that the boy has died, for he shall do evil things? David perceived that his servants were whispering, and David comprehended the boy had died. David said to his servants, Has the boy died? They said, Yes, he has died. David rose from the ground, bathed, anointed himself, and changed his clothes. He entered into the house of God, and did obeisance to him. He entered unto his house, and asked for bread to eat. They placed near him bread, and he ate. Her servants said to him, What is this thing which you do because of the boy? While still living, you fasted and wept and were sleepless. When the boy died, you rose up and ate bread and drank. David said, While the boy was still living, I fasted and wept, for I said, Who knows if the Lord will show mercy on me, and the boy shall live? Now he has died. Why this that I should fast? I shall not be able to return him, yet I will go to him, but he shall not return to me. David comforted his wife Bathsheba. He entered to her, and went to bed with her, and she conceived, and gave birth to a son, and called his name Solomon, and the Lord loved him. He sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet, and called his name Jedediah by the word of the Lord. Joab waged war with Rabbah of the sons of Ammon, and he overtook the city of the kingdom. Joab sent messengers to David, and said, I waged war against Rabbah, and overtook the city of waters. Now gather together the rest of the people, camp upon the city, and be the first to take it, that I should not be the first to take the city, and my name should be called upon it. David gathered together all the people. He went to Rabbah, and waged war against it, and overtook it. He took the crown of their king from his head, and its weight was a talent of gold, and of precious stone, and it was upon the head of David. He brought forth exceedingly much spoils of the city. The people who went in it he led out, put them to the saw, to the threshing machines of iron, and adze of iron. He led them through the brick kiln, and thus he did to all the cities of the sons of Ammon. And David returned, and all the people to Jerusalem. And it happened after these things that there was to Absalom, son of David, a sister good to the sight exceedingly, and her name was Tamar, and Amnon, son of David, loved her. Amnon was afflicted so as to be ill over Tamar his sister, for she was a virgin, and was an enormous thing in the eyes of Amnon to do anything to her. There was a companion to Amnon, and his name was Jonadab, son of Shemaiah, the brother of David. And Jonadab was exceedingly practical. He said to him, What is it to you that thus you are weak morning by morning, O son of the king? Will you not report it to me? And Amnon said to him, Tamar, the sister of my brother Absalom, I love. Jonadab said to him, Go to bed in your bed, and be as infirm. Your father will enter to see you, and you shall say to him, Let indeed Tamar, my sister, come and feed me, and let her make food before my eyes, so that I should see and eat from her hand. Amnon went to bed, and became as ill. The king entered to see him, and Amnon said to the king, Let indeed Tamar, my sister, come to me. Let her bake 2 biscuits before my eyes, and I will eat from her hand. David said to Tamar to the house, saying, Go indeed to the house of Amnon your brother, make food for us. Now Tamar went to the house of Amnon her brother, and with him being in bed, she took the dough and mixed it, made biscuits before his eyes, and baked the biscuits. She took the frying pan and emptied it before him. He did not want to eat. Amnon said, Lead out every man from about me. They led out every man about him. Amnon said to Tamar, Carry it in to me the food to the bedroom, and I shall eat from out of your hand. Tamar took the biscuit which she made, carried them to Amnon her brother into the bedroom. she brought to him to eat, and he took hold of her, said to her, Come, go to bed with me, my sister. She said to him, No, O my brother, you should not abase me, for it shall not be done so in Israel. You shall not do this folly. And I, where shall I carry away my scorn? If you will be as one of the fools in Israel, now speak indeed to the king, for in no way will he restrain me from you. Amnon did not want to hear her voice, and he powered over her, and abased her, and went to bed with her. Amnon detested her with an exceedingly great hatred, for so great was the hatred which he detested her, that it was above the love which he loved her. And Amnon said to her, Now rise up and go. Tamar said to him, That great is the last evil over the first which you did with me, to send me away. Amnon did not want to hearken to her voice. He called his servant, set over his house, and said to him, Send indeed this one from me outside, and lock the door after her. Upon her was an inner garment with long sleeves, for thus the daughters of the kings dressed, the virgins, the ones with their outer garments. His minister led her outside, and locked the door after her. Tamar took ashes, put them upon her head, and the inner garment, the one with long sleeves, the one upon her she tore. She put her hands upon her head, and she went going and crying out. Absalom her brother said to her, Has Amnon your brother been with you? Now my sister, be silent, for he is your brother. Do not put it to your heart to say anything. Tamar sat expiring in the house of Absalom her brother. And King David heard all these words, and was enraged exceedingly. Absalom did not speak with Amnon of bad or good, for Absalom detested Amnon, for which he abased Tamar his sister. It came to pass after 2 whole years of days, that they were shearing for Absalom in Baal Hazor, the one by Ephraim, and Absalom called all the sons of the king. Absalom came to the king, and said, Behold, indeed, your servant shears. Let indeed the king go, and his servant with your servant. And the king said to Absalom, No, indeed, O my son, in no way should we all go ourselves, and in no way should we be burdensome upon you. Absalom constrained him, and the king did not want to go, but he blessed him. Absalom said, If not, let Amnon my brother go indeed with us. The king said to him, Why should he go with you? Absalom constrained him, and he sent with him Amnon and all the sons of the king. Absalom gave charge to his servants, saying, Behold, whenever the heart of Amnon feels good with the wine, I shall say to you, Strike Amnon and put him to death. And you should not fear, for it is not I giving charge to you. Be manly and become his powers of son. The servants of Absalom did to Amnon as he gave charge to them. And all the sons of the king rose up, and each mounted upon his mule, and they fled. It came to pass of their being in the way, that the report came to David, saying, Absalom struck all the sons of the king, and did not leave behind of them not even one. The king rose up and tore his clothes, laid upon the ground, and all his servants standing around him tore their clothes. Jonadab, son of Shemaiah, brother of David, answered, and said, Let not my master the king say that all the boys of the sons of the kings he put to death, but only Amnon alone died, for the mouth of Absalom it was situated to be from the day of which he abased Tamar his sister. Now let not my master the king put the matter upon his heart, saying all the sons of the king died, for only Amnon alone died. Absalom ran away, and the servant watchman lifted his eyes and looked. Behold, there were many people going in the way behind him, from out the side of the mountain. Jonadab said to the king, Behold, the sons of the king are at hand, according to the word of your servant. Thus it has happened. And it came to pass, when he completed speaking, that, behold, the sons of the king came, lifted up their voice and wept. And indeed the king and all the servants wept in exceedingly great weeping. Absalom ran away, and he went to Talmai, son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. And the king mourned over his sons all the day. Absalom fled and went forth unto Geshur. He was there 3 years. The spirit of King David abated to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Amnon that he died. And Joab, son of Zeruiah, knew that the heart of the king was towards Absalom. Joab sent to Tekoa, and he took from there a wise woman. He said to her, You mourn indeed. Put on mournful garments. Do not anoint yourself with oil, and be as a woman mourning for many days, for one having died. You shall come to the king, and you shall speak to him according to this thing. Joab put the words into her mouth, and the Tekoathite woman entered to the king. She fell upon her face to the ground, and she did obeisance to him. She said, Deliver, O king, deliver. And the king said to her, What is it to you? And she said, By all means I am a widow woman, and my husband died. Indeed, to your maidservant are 2 sons, and they both quarreled in the field. There was no one for rescuing between them, and the one hit his one brother and killed him. Behold, the entire family rose up against your maidservant, and they said, Give over the one hitting his brother. We shall kill him on account of the life of his brother whom he killed.
we shall take away the heir, and so they shall extinguish my spark of coal, one left behind to me, so as to not establish to my husband a vestige, a name upon the face of the earth. The king said to the woman, Go to your house, being in health, and I will take charge concerning you. The Tekoahite woman said to the king, O my master, O king, upon me be the iniquity, and upon the house of my father. The king and his throne be innocent. The king said, The one speaking to you a word, lead him to me, and in no way shall anyone proceed yet to touch you. The woman said, Let now the king remember indeed the Lord your God, to multiply a relative for blood, to utterly destroy, and in no way take away my son. He said, As the Lord lives, there shall not fall of the hair of your son upon the ground. The woman said, Let your maidservant speak indeed to my master, the king, a thing. And he said, Speak. And the woman said, Why have you imputed thus upon the people of God? Yes, by the king speaking this word, it is as a trespass, for the king to not return the one being thrust away by him. For to death we shall die, and as the water being discharged upon the earth, not being gathered together, God shall not take the life, yet he himself devises the device to not thrust away from him the one being thrusted away. Now for which I came to speak to my master, the king, this word. The people see me, and your maidservant will say, Let your maidservant speak indeed to my master the king, if by any means the king shall do the matter of his maidservant. For the king shall hear to rescue his maidservant from out of the hand of the man seeking to take me away, and my son from the inheritance of God. And said your maidservant, Let indeed the word of my master the king be as an accepted sacrifice. For as a messenger of God, thus is the master, the king, to hear the good and the bad, and the Lord your God will be with you. The king answered and said to the woman, You should not indeed hide from me the matter whichever I should ask you. And the woman said, Let indeed my master the king speak. The king said, Is not the hand of Joab and all this with you? And the woman answered and said to the king, As your soul lives, O my master, O king, since there is no turning to the right or to the left of all which my master the king spoke. For your servant Joab himself gave charge to me, and he put all these words in the mouth of your maidservant. So as for the face of this matter to come about, Joab your servant prepared this thing, and my master the king is wise as the wisdom of a messenger of God, to know all the things in the land. The king said to Joab, Behold, indeed, I do to you according to this word. Go return the young man Absalom. And Joab fell upon his face upon the ground. He did obeisance, and he blessed the king. And Joab said, Today your servant knows that he has found favor in your eyes, O my master, O king. For my master the king did the matter for his servant. And Joab rose up and went into Geshur, and he led Absalom into Jerusalem. The king said, Let him return to his house, but let him not see my face. And Absalom returned to his house, but the face of the king he did not see. And there was no man as Absalom in all Israel, as exceedingly praiseworthy, from the sole of his foot and unto the top of his head. There was not a blemish on him. In his shearing his head, and it took place at the end of the days, unto the days that he sheared it, for it became burdensome upon him. In shearing he set aside the hairs of his head, 200 shekels of the royal scale weight. And there was born to Absalom 3 sons and 1 daughter, and her name was Tamar. She was an exceedingly goodly woman. Absalom stayed in Jerusalem 2 years of days, and the face of the king he did not see. Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king. He did not want to come to him. He sent again the second time to him, and he did not want to come. Absalom said to his servants, You know the portion in the field of Joab, being next to mine, and to him is barley there. You go, burn it by the fire. The servants of Absalom burned by fire the portion of the field of Joab. And Joab rose up and came to Absalom to the house, and he said to him, Why did your servants set on fire my field with fire? And Absalom said to Joab, Behold, I sent to you, saying, Come here, and I will send you to the king, saying, Why did I come from out of Geshur? It was good for me to be there, and now I shall see indeed the face of the king. If there is iniquity in me, then I shall be killed. Joab went to the king and reported to him, and he called Absalom. He entered to the king. He did obeisance to him, and fell upon his face upon the ground before the king. And the king kissed Absalom. And it came to pass after these things that Absalom prepared for himself chariots and horsemen, and 50 men to run along in front of him. Absalom rose early and stood at the way of the gate. And it came to pass every man in which had a case, From out of what city are you? And he said, Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said to him, Behold, your words are good and well tempered. There is no one you from the king. And Absalom said, Why shall he not place me for judge in the land? And every man shall come to me, to whomever there might be a dispute and a case, and I will do justice for him. And it came to pass when the man approached to do obeisance to him, that he stretched out his hand and took hold of him and kissed him. Absalom did according to all Israel to the ones coming for a judgment to the king. And Absalom adopted the heart of the men of Israel. And it came to pass at the end of 40 years that Absalom said to his father, I will go indeed and pay my vows which I vowed to the Lord in Hebron. For your servant vowed a vow in my living in Geshur in Syria, saying, If in returning the Lord shall return me to Jerusalem, then I shall serve to the Lord. The king said to him, Proceed in peace. And rising up he went unto Hebron. Absalom sent spies into all the tribes of Israel, saying, In your hearing the sound of the trumpet, that you shall say, Absalom reigns in Hebron. And 200 chosen men went with Absalom from out of Jerusalem. They went in simplicity, and they did not know one thing. And Absalom sent and called Ahithophel the Gilonite, counselor to David, from out of his city Gilo. And during his sacrificing the sacrifices there was a strong confederation. The people went and multiplied with Absalom. One came reporting to David, saying, The heart of the men of Absalom is committed after Absalom. And David said to all his servants with him in Jerusalem, Rise up, for we should flee. There is no deliverance for us from the face of Absalom. But hasten to go, that he should not hasten and overtake us, and thrust evil upon us, and should strike the city by the mouth of the broadsword. The servants of the king said to the king, According to all as much as seems good to our master the king, behold, we are your servants. And the king went forth, and all his house on their feet. The king left 10 women of his concubines to guard the house. And the king went forth, and all his people by foot, and they set up in a house far away. All his servants passed by his hand, and every Cherethite, and every Pelethite, and all the Gittites, 600 men having come from out of Gath by foot, were passing in front of the king. And the king said to Ittai the Gittite, Why should you go even yourself with us? Return and live with the king, for you are an alien yourself, and because you are displaced from out of your place. Since you came yesterday, then today shall I move you to go with us, and I shall go wherever I shall go. Go and return your brothers with you, and the Lord shall execute with you an act of kindness and truth. Ittai answered the king, and said, As the Lord lives, and as my master the king lives, and unto the place wherever my master, with a great voice. And all the people passed through the rushing stream of the Kidron. The king passed over the rushing stream Kidron, and all the people came unto the face of the way of the wilderness. Behold, also indeed Zadok and all the Levites were with him, lifting the ark of the covenant of God. They stationed the ark of God, and Abiathar ascended unto all the people, ceased going out of the city. The king said to Zadok, Return the ark of God unto the city, if I should find favor in the eyes of the Lord. And he returns me, and he shall show it to me and its beauty. If he should thus, I have no want in you, behold, I let him do it to me, the pleasing thing before him. The king said to Zadok the priest, Behold, you return to the city in peace. Ahimaaz your son, Jonathan the son of Abiathar, the 2 sons of yours with you. Behold, I wait for you in the wilderness of the desert, until the coming of a word by you to report to me. Zadok and Abiathar returned the ark of God to Jerusalem, and it stayed there. And David ascended upon the ascent of the olive groves, ascending and weeping, and his head being covered over, he went barefoot. And all the people, the ones with him, each man covered his head, and they ascended, ascending and weeping. It was announced to David, saying, Ahithophel is among the ones confederating with Absalom. And David said, O Lord my God, of faith indeed the counsel of Ahithophel. David was coming unto Ros, where he did obeisance there to God. And behold, Hushai the chief friend of David was come from meeting him, tearing his inner garment with earth upon his head. David said to him, If you should go through with me, then you will be unto me a load. If into the city you should return, then you shall say to Absalom, I am your servant, O king, allow me to live. For I was a servant of your father then, just now I am your servant. And by saying this, efface to me the counsel of Ahithophel. Behold, there are with you Zadok and Abiathar the priests, and it will be every word whichever you should hear from out of the house of the king. You shall report it to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. Behold, their 2 sons are with them, there Ahimaaz the son of Zadok, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. And you shall send by their hand to me every word whichever you should hear. And Hushai the friend of David entered into the city, and Absalom at present entered into Jerusalem.
David went through a little from Ros, and behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, arrived for meeting him, and a pair of donkeys being saddled, and upon them 200 bread loaves, and an ephah of dried grape clusters, and 100 dried fruit clusters, and a skin flask of wine. The king said to Ziba, What are these to you? And Ziba said, The donkeys for the household of the king to mount, and the bread loaves and the dried fruit clusters, and dried grapes for food to the servants, and the wine to drink to the one faint in the wilderness. The king said, Where is the son of your master? And Ziba said to the king, Behold, he sits in Jerusalem. For he said, Today the house of Israel shall return to me the kingdom of my father. The king said to Ziba, Behold, I give to you all as much as is Mephibosheth's. And Ziba said, I do obeisance. May I find favor in your eyes, O my master, O king. King David came unto Bahurim, and behold, from there a man came forth from the family of the house of Saul, and the name to him was Shimei, son of Gera. He came forth coming and cursing, and throwing stones at David, and at all the servants of King David, all the people, and all the mighty ones of the right and of the left of the king. Thus Shimei said in his cursing, Go forth, O man of the bloodsheddings, and O man the lawbreaker. The Lord returned upon you all the blood of the house of Saul, because you reigned instead of him. And the Lord gave the kingdom into the hand of Absalom your son. Behold, you are taken in your own evil, for you are a man of blood. Abishai son of Zeruiah said to the king, Why does this dying dog curse my master the king? Let me pass indeed, and I shall remove his head. And the king said to Abishai, What is it to me and to you, son of Zeruiah? Even leave him, and thus let him curse. For the Lord said to him, And curse David. And who shall say to him, Why did you do thus? David said to Abishai and to all his servants, Behold, my son, the one coming forth from out of my belly, seeks my life. And moreover, now the son of the Benjamite. Leave him to curse, for the Lord told him, If by any means the Lord may behold in my humiliation, and shall return good to me for this curse this day, so be it. David went, and all his men in the way, and Shimei went according to the side of the mountain, being next to him. He went and cursed, and cast stones on him, and strewing dust. The king went, and all the people with him, being faint, and they refreshed there. Absalom and every man of Israel entered into Jerusalem, and Ahithophel was with them. It came to pass when Hushai, the chief friend of David, came to Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, As lives the king. The friend of David came to Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, As the king lives, as lives the king. And Absalom said to Hushai, Is this your act of kindness with your companion? Why did you not go with your companion? Hushai said to Absalom, No, following after whoever the Lord chooses, this people, and every man of Israel. Serving to him I will be, and I shall sit down with him. Secondly, to whom shall I serve? Should I not serve before his son? Just as I served before your father, so I will be before you. Absalom said to Ahithophel, Give counsel for yourself what we should do. Ahithophel said to Absalom, Enter to the concubines of your father, which he left behind to guard his house, and all Israel shall hear that you disgraced your father, and the hands of all the ones with you shall grow in strength. They pitched the tent of Absalom upon the roof, and Absalom entered to the concubines of his father, in the eyes of all Israel. The counsel of Ahithophel, which he consulted in the first days, was in which manner as if he should ask anything by the word of God. Thus was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both to David and to Absalom. And now Ahithophel said to Absalom, I shall choose indeed for myself 12,000 men. I shall rise up and pursue after David at night, and I shall come upon him, and he will be tiring and loosening his hand, and I shall startle him. All the people with him shall flee, and I shall strike the king alone. I shall return all the people to you, in which manner a bride returns to her husband. Besides, you seek the life of one man, and all the people will be at peace. The word was pleasing in the eyes of Absalom, and in the eyes of all the elders of Israel. And Absalom said, Call indeed Hushai the Archite, and I shall hear what is in his mouth, and indeed of him. Hushai entered to Absalom, and Absalom said to him, saying, According to this thing Ahithophel spoke, shall we do according to this word? But if not, you speak. Hushai said to Absalom, It is not good, this counsel which Ahithophel counseled this one time. Hushai said, You know your father and his men, that you are exceedingly mighty, and their soul is very bitter as a bear being made childless in the plain. Your father is a warrior man, and in no way shall he rest the people. Behold, he now hides in one of the canyons, or in one of the places, and it will be when they fall upon them at the beginning, that one shall hear the hearing, and should say, There was a devastation among the people to the ones following after Absalom. Indeed, any son of power whose heart is as the heart of a lion, in melting away he shall melt away. For all Israel knows that your father is mighty, and the sons of power, all the ones with him. Thus advising, I advised, and all Israel in gathering together shall gather together unto you, from Dan unto Beersheba, as to stand upon the sea in multitude, and your presence shall be going in the midst of them. We shall come upon him in one of the places, whichever we should find him there, and we shall camp upon him as falls the dew upon the ground. We shall not leave being among to him any of his men with him, even indeed one. If he should gather into the city, that all Israel shall take lines against the city, drag it apart unto the rushing streams, unto not leaving behind there neither a stone. And Absalom said, Every man of Israel, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is good over the counsel of Ahithophel. And the Lord gave charge to efface the good counsel of Ahithophel, so that the Lord should bring the bad things upon Absalom. Hushai said to Zadok and to Abiathar the priests, So and so advised Ahithophel to Absalom, and to the elders of Israel, and so I advised. Now send quickly and report to David, saying, You should not lodge the night according to the descent of the wilderness, but by passing over, pass over, so that the king should not be swallowed down, and all the people the one with him. Jonathan and Ahimaaz stopped at the spring of Rogel, and came forth the maidservant, and reported to them. They went and reported to King David, for they were not able to appear to enter into the city. And David, the young man, beheld them, and he reported to Absalom. The two went quickly, and they entered into a house of a man in Bahurim, and unto his cistern in the courtyard, and they went down there. A woman took and opened and spread out a covering over the mouth of the cistern, and she cooled dried clusters upon it, and they did not know a thing. The servants of Absalom came to the woman into the house, and they said, Where is Ahimaaz and Jonathan? The woman said to them, They went for a little water, and they sought and did not find them, and they returned unto Jerusalem. It came to pass after their going forth, they ascended from out of the cistern, went and reported to King David. They said to him, Rise up and pass over the water quickly, for thus Ahithophel has counseled against you. David rose up, and all the people with him. They passed over the Jordan unto the light of the morning, until one was not unaware of who did not pass over the Jordan. And Ahithophel knew that he had not taken his counsel. He saddled his donkey, rose up, and went forth to his house in his city. He gave charge to his household, and he hung himself and died. They entombed him in the burying place of his father. And David went through unto Mahanaim, and Absalom passed over the Jordan, he and every man of Israel with him. Absalom placed Amasa instead of Joab over the force, and Amasa was the son of a man, and the name of him was Ithra the Israelite. This one entered to Abigail, daughter of Nahash, sister of Zeruiah, mother of Joab. And Absalom camped in all Israel in the land of Gilead. It came to pass when David entered into Mahanaim that Shobai, son of Nahash from Reba of the sons of Ammon, and Machir, son of Amiel from Lodabar, and Barzillai, the Gileadite from Rogelim, brought beds and spreads, kettles and ceramic utensils, wheat and barley and flour, beans, lentils, toasted grains, honey, butter, sheep, cheese from the oxen. And they brought near to David and to the people with him to eat, for they said, The people are hungering and fainting and thirsting in the wilderness. God is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. For there is a river whose stream make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved, for God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, and the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress.
If you should sit to have supper at the table of a monarch, intelligibly comprehend the things being placed near you. Give attention to your hand, beholding that it is a must for you to make preparations for such things. But if you are insatiable, do not desire his foods, for these have a false life. Do not reach forth, being needy to the rich, but in your insight be at a distance. If you set your eyes upon him, he shall not at all appear. There are carefully prepared for him wings as of an eagle, and he returns to the house being set for him. Do not dine with a bewitching man, nor desire his foods, for in which manner, as if any man swallow down a hair, thus he eats or drinks. Nor should you bring him to yourself, nor should you eat your morsel with him, for he will vomit it and lay waste your good words. Do not speak into the ears of a fool, lest at any time he sneer at discerning your words. You should not transpose the everlasting boundaries, and to the possession of orphans you should not enter to take. For the one ransoming them is the Lord. He is strong, and he arbitrates their case with you. Give your heart for instruction. Prepare your ears for words of good sense. You should not be at a distance to correct the simple, for if you strike him with a rod, in no way should he die. For as much as you struck him with a rod, then you rescued his soul from death. O son, if you should make your heart wise, you should gladden also my heart, and the words of your lips shall spend time with my lips. If they should be straight, let them not your heart be jealous of sinners, but be in the fear of the Lord the whole day. For if you should give heed to these things, there will be a progeny for you, and your hope will not leave. Hear, O my son, and be wise, and straighten out the reflection of your heart. Do not be a winebibber, nor stretch out couplings, nor purchases of meats. For every intoxicated one and whoremonger shall be poor, and every sleepy one shall be put on torn and ragged garments. Hear, O son, the Father engendering you, and do not disdain that your mother has grown old, but acquire truth, and you should not thrust away wisdom and instruction and understanding. A unjust father nourishes well, and his soul is gladdened by a wise son. Let your father and mother be glad over you, and let the one who gave birth to you rejoice. Give to me, O son, your heart, and let your eyes give heed to my ways. For a strange house is a cask having been drilled, and a strange well is narrow. For this one suddenly shall perish, and every lawbreaker shall be consumed. To whom is there woe? To whom is tumult? To whom litigations? To whom rancor and intrigue? To whom breaks without cause? To whom dark-colored eyes? Is it not the one lingering the wines? Is not the one prowling where parties happen? Do not be intoxicated by wine, but consort with just men, and consort in the promenades. For if in the bowls and in the cups you shall give your eyes, afterwards you shall walk more naked than a pestle. But at last it will be as if being struck by a serpent he stretches out, and as if by a horned serpent the poison diffuses throughout him. Whenever your eyes behold the strange woman, your mouth then speaks perverse things, and you shall recline as if in the heart of a sea, as a navigator in a great swell. You shall say, they beat me, and I did not feel it. They mocked me, but I did not know. When will it be dawn? That coming I shall seek after one who shall come together with me to get a drink.
Romans 6:4-6. Therefore we are buried with him by baptism into death, that, like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. For if we have planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection, knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. When Henry Hill was arrested in 1980, he was offered an opportunity. If he would testify against his former mafia associates, he would not be held accountable for his own involvement in a number of crimes. Once the FBI played wiretaps recordings for him proving that his mafia associates intended to have him killed. Then Hill took the deal. He testified in a number of trials, and at least 50 people were convicted, in large part because of his inside information. Once the trials were completed, Hill and his family were placed in the Witness Protection Program, given new identities. Despite the new life he was offered, Hill did not change his ways, and in 1987 he was convicted on a federal cocaine trafficking charge, kicked out of witness protection. When we are saved, God gives us eternal life, but he also gives us the ability to live differently in this world than we did before. What we once could not live in a way that is obedient and pleasing to God is now possible because we have a new identity. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. However, having the new identity as children of God does not guarantee that we will live up to it. Only as we walk under the direction and control of the Holy Spirit will we actually conduct ourselves in the new people God has made us to be and leave the old ways behind. Living the new life and leaving the old behind is only possible through the power of God working in us.